This week on the show, we tell you how to get a job in the cannabis industry, talk about Netflix trying and failing to produce cannabis content cannabis enthusiasts would embrace, and which city is looking to expunge cannabis convictions off the record. My name is Tim Stromble, and this is Rooted. Welcome to the show. You know, we've gotten a little heavy on the show the last couple of weeks. We've talked about anti-cannabis turd Jeff Sessions, crazy cannabis strain names, and pot busts in Colorado. All serious topics, certainly worth our time, but this week we're going to have some fun, because I'm a little hungover. Our top story this week comes to us from Netflix, where the streaming service recently announced it was canceling Disjointed, a one-season series featuring Kathy Bates as a longtime cannabis activist who opens her own dispensary, and hilarity ensues. Or at least it was supposed to ensue. I think that was the point. The series was met with terrible reviews from the cannabis community, and Netflix pulled the plug and is looking to sell the rights to another production agency. So, as the cannabis enthusiast you are, do you support the canceling of the show, or do you think it had potential to turn into something that could help propel the cannabis industry into the mainstream? After all, I mean, there's plenty of other crap out there that's still on the air, right? I mean, how many seasons of 2.5 Men are they going to make? That show's terrible. It's hot garbage. It's about nothing. I don't get it. That feels good. I've been waiting years to say that. I've never had a show. I just don't like that show. Anyways, Netflix canceling Disjointed is what we want to talk about on this week's Two Sides. On one hand, the show stars Kathy Bates, who rocks an impressive career stat sheet and I've personally loved in countless roles, especially American Horror Story, The Butcher. You would think that if anyone could have made the show work, it would have been her. Plus, there's an obvious opening for some sort of show like this. Given that 61% of Americans favor legalization, you'd only need a small percentage of them to watch a show like this for it to be massively successful. And I think it'd be great for the industry if they had a show like this that was kind of a behind the scenes and could bridge the gap between the cannabis industry and mainstream America. Show them that everyone's just a normal person, right? If you look at it like that, it's a pretty big bummer this show didn't work out. Yeah, I mean, if we can painfully sit through season after season of Charlie Sheen's crazy face on 2.5 Men, I think we can give Kathy Bates a little longer to figure it out, right? On the other hand, many people, myself included, cringed within the first minute of the first episode when this show opened with cheap stoner stereotype after cheap stoner stereotype. I couldn't even finish the first episode. Really, the only way I could think of a show like this failing is exactly the way it happened. There was no sense of realness to it, and it was transparent immediately. If I know one thing about the average cannabis enthusiast, and I might only know one thing, it's that they appreciate things that are genuine and real. So I can easily understand why almost 100% of the industry turned against this show, because it didn't represent real people in this space or the average smoker either. Maybe this show would have been good back in the 80s or 90s, where pot stereotypes were everywhere and cannabis smokers just thought it was cool to be represented in something, I guess. But I think the backlash from the industry, combined with the canceling of the series, proves the industry has come a long way and no longer wants to be represented by actors, actresses, and stereotypes that don't speak to them or represent what they perceive the industry to be. It's not Kathy Bates' fault either, okay? The show was terribly written and off base from the beginning and deserved to be canceled. Perhaps another network will buy the rights and come up with something that we can actually watch and be proud of. After all, there has never really been a successful sitcom centered around the cannabis industry, and like I said earlier, the audience is there. Someone just has to create the show. So, what do you think? Did Kathy Bates and Disjointed get a raw deal, or did the show deserve to be canceled? Hit up our Facebook page and comment your thoughts, and we'll share the results in a future episode. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Now let's get to business. Of course, our business segment is brought to you by the folks over at PR420. If you've got news, PR420 wants to help you share it. Hit them up at pressrelease420.com today to get started. My question to you today is, are you looking for a job in the cannabis industry? Or do you run a company in the industry who's looking for qualified candidates? If so, you might want to check out our featured business of the week, Vangst Talent Network. Vangst is the leading cannabis industry staffing firm in the US. They've placed tons of qualified candidates all around the industry and have worked with an equally impressive amount of companies to vet and filter out job candidates to streamline the entire hiring process. Anyone can sign up to list themselves for hire on Vangst, and once you're set up, you can sift through job postings to try to find the position that is right for you. Vangst is killing it so hard right now that their founder, Carson Humiston, who's been on our podcast a couple of times, by the way, no big deal, was selected to the 2018 30 Under 30 list by Forbes magazine, which is extremely impressive given that her company operates in the cannabis space, which so many large mainstream publications and companies refuse to touch. To learn more about Vangst, visit their site, vangst.com, or check out Carson on the Rooted podcast on episode 11 or 39. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the show. This week on the Rooted podcast, we talk with Cullen Raichart, the founder and CEO of GreenBroz, a world leader in automated harvesting equipment for the legal cannabis industry. Now, I've known Cullen for years now, and he's been a proud supporter and sponsor of the Rooted podcast since day one. And this being the milestone 50th episode of the Rooted podcast, I thought it just made sense to get him back on the program. Now, GreenBroz already produces arguably the best cannabis trimmer in the industry, certainly the best dry trimmer, but now they've clearly outpaced their competition with the release of 5 new harvesting machines over the past 12 months, and according to Cullen, there's a couple more surprises on the way. Cullen and I talk about automation in the industry, bottlenecks to cannabis harvesting, and how GreenBroz is about to change the automated harvesting game yet again. Here's a sneak peek.
We basically make equipment that addresses the harvesting side of cannabis, from the very simple single standalone piece of equipment all the way up into automated pieces of equipment that are joined together by logic and control systems to give us, a complete processing solution, if you will. So, yeah, that's what we're all about. We're all about trying to make things easier and more efficient and more effective for our customers and make sure that they're successful at whatever level they're at.
Don't forget to download and subscribe to the Rooted Podcast on iTunes or SoundCloud to get the latest episodes, and leave us a nice review if you like the show. We'd appreciate it. Lastly, before we get you out of here, we have to share our favorite thing this week, which for the second week in a row comes to us from California, where a day that many hoped for and probably few ever expected to actually see looks like it might be closer to fruition than ever before. A week or so ago, San Francisco's district attorney announced that the city prosecutors will reduce or completely throw out thousands of criminal convictions for cannabis, dating back decades and made possible by a 2016 state ballot measure legalizing recreational cannabis sales in the state. The district attorney said his office will wipe out nearly 3,000 misdemeanor cases and review 5,000 or more felony cases. Because of the cost associated with this work, the district attorney said they're looking all the way back from 1975 to the present to see if there's a quicker mass solution rather than going on a case-by-case basis, which seems to make a lot of sense. It's estimated that over 100,000 people will apply for this, and it will likely have a huge impact on many lives, as misdemeanors and felonies can make it nearly impossible to get a job. Now, as far as I know, San Francisco is the first city in America to take such commonsensical action in dealing with former cannabis crimes and current legalization. So a big time congrats to San Francisco and their district attorneys, and to all of you out in California for working so hard to pass legalization. It seems you're not only on your way to a legalized cannabis system that works, but you're on your way to helping a lot of people get their life back. So that's why you all are my favorite thing this week. Thank you for your hard work. That's going to do it for us on the show. Quick reminder to hit up the website stayrooted.com to check out more show content, like our social pages, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Until next week, I'm Tim Stromble, reminding you to work hard, be humble, and as always, stay rooted. See you next week.